We are proud to announce that Connected Farmer's guest today is Ryan LeGrand, the president of the U.S. Grains Council. We are going to speak about some hot topics, which are the new trade deals and how they would impact farmers and exporters. Connected Farmer is your channel to keep you up to date with the latest trends in agriculture and livestock. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned. Ryan, before we jump into the trade deals, please tell us a little bit about your professional baggage. Ryan, how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's good to be here with you, Luis. So my name is Ryan LeGrand. I'm the president and CEO of the U.S. Grains Council. I've been on the job just a little over a year. I come from a trading background, trading mainly distillers' grains to the export markets. So these are, corn-based distillers' grains that we're trading in containers, barges, and vessels around the world for about 15 years prior to coming to the council. So this step into market development has been a nice change, and it's very good to be working on behalf of the U.S. farmer.
So getting into the trade deals, now we are heading to a new phase of the trade deal with China. They are promising to buy $36.5 billion in agriculture commodities from the United States, up from $24 billion last year. China has made some signs recently, buying 1.76 million metric tons of corn in 1 week, the fourth largest for a week in history. 10 million metric tons is what some expect of Chinese purchases from the U.S. this year. Can you tell us in retrospect about this negotiation? How was the negotiation, and if you think those numbers are doable?
Sure. Well, China has been an important customer for the United States for a number of years on specifically on distillers' grains and on sorghum. And then they've been a good customer from time to time in recent years on corn as well. But we have the phase one agreement in place that does call for these purchase commitments, and they're lagging behind a little bit, but there's a lot of factors there that people need to take into consideration. The phase one deal started. It didn't start on January 1. It started February 14th of this year. So we're not actually a full 9 months into the agreement quite yet, if you look at it that way. And then obviously we have the COVID pandemic that's just slowed everything down around the world. But despite that, China seems to be making a full faith effort to fulfill their commitments. They came into our old crop, the one we just finished, the 2019-20 old crop for corn, and purchased over 2 million tons. They purchased large amounts of sorghum from the old crop as well. I think north of 3 million tons is what they bought of the past sorghum crop. Then when you look to the new crop that just started on September 1st, the 2020-21 corn crop, they've already put 9.5 million tons on the books. So when you talk about China buying 10 million tons for this crop year, they're pretty much there already. How much more they buy, it's we don't know, but we're very happy to have this demand, especially in a year when we've got a large carryout coming. We're happy to see them in there buying early. We'll look forward to the execution of these vessels. Sorghum, they're off to a great start as well. They've already purchased, I believe, 2 million tons of this current sorghum crop that just started too. So we're pretty pleased with as far as the ag purchases for the U.S. Grains Council marketed products. We're pretty pleased with how things are going.
Yes, you mentioned sorghum. Sorghum is an alternative crop to corn. Is relatively lower cost and is resistant to more resistant to mycotoxins and drought. And what would be your expectation for Chinese purchase of U.S. sorghum?
I hesitate to get into predictions and how much they're going to buy. But, if you look in the past, they can pretty easily buy more than 5 million tons. That's been done before. They've bought that amount of sorghum from us before, so we know that demand is there. We've seen that China was unfortunately hit by the African swine fever that drastically reduced their swine population, their swine herd, but that seems to be coming back somewhat. To what degree depends on who you talk to. There was also poultry production that was increased during that time. So you've got that new poultry production, you've got returning swine production that just continues to give demand signals that they're going to need grains from somewhere. The United States is an affordable and reliable option, and we'll be there to serve those needs should they, when they come to the table.
Yes. And recently, the U.S. Grains Council announced that a new protocol, a phyto-sanitary protocol, was signed with China that would allow the entrance of barley into China. Well, how was that negotiation, and what's your expectation with this deal?
Yeah, we were very happy to see that USTR, the United States Trade Representative, got that barley protocol into phase one. That was key for our barley producers that we represent in foreign markets. China's, I believe, the largest barley buyer in the world. They're the largest buyer of a lot of things in the world, but barley is one of them. And we see some real promising potential there going forward. We're just getting started. It was not even possible to export barley to China prior to this. So kudos to USTR for getting that in the agreement.
Yes, and we are speaking about the trade deal with China. We maybe can do a comparison or with what was the negotiation with the North American trade agreement that was put into place officially in January of this year. Mexico usually buys about 30% of the U.S. corn, but what do you think was achieved with this update of NAFTA?
The update of NAFTA turning into USMCA was great to see. It provides certainty with two of our top trading partners in Mexico and Canada. Mexico's a consistent number one buyer of corn. They're our top buyer of distillers grains and barley as well. So that's key for all the people the farmers that we represent in Mexico. Canada is a big one as well. They buy good amounts of our corn, our distillers grains, and our ethanol. They're a big ethanol customer as well. So it's great to see that. It's great to see some of the sanitary and phyto-sanitary provisions that were put in place into this agreement. Just happy to have an agreement solidified, implemented with two very, very good partners to the north and south of our border.
And of course, your work with your good Spanish that I know you have helped over there.
Yeah. I actually lived in Mexico for almost a decade, working for Gavilon and then for the Grains Council before moving to the DC office. And yeah, Mexico is a second home for me.
And what else would you like to tell farmers from the U.S. and traders around the world?
Well, I'd like to but before I go to something that, some key messages that we put out, I did miss something on the China phase one. Very happy to see the corn and sorghum purchases, but there's a couple of products in the Grains Council portfolio that really haven't started moving to China yet, and they're familiar with them, and that's distillers grains and ethanol. They've been big buyers, so 3 to 5 million tons of distillers grains in previous years. They've bought close to 200 million gallons of ethanol in one calendar year. So the potential is there. The value is there for Chinese customers. Distillers Grains is such an excellent product. They know how to use it, and it works well in Chinese animal rations. And then ethanol, they realize the octane value there and how it can work to clean up their cities. So that's something else we'd like to see in phase one. But going back to your question on what I'd like our representatives to know is that, you know, a key message that the Grains Council has been putting out to concerned foreign buyers, to concerned foreign governments when they call us, is that the U.S. grain export system is and has been and will be open throughout this pandemic. You know, there were a lot of concerns about New Orleans potentially closing and not being able to load, or the same in the PNW when this started. And I'll tell you that the folks down there in New Orleans and up there in PNW work really hard to make sure these vessels continue to load without delay. A lot of the process is automated as well. But just want to give a special thanks to those folks that are running the port operations throughout the United States that have really, you know, helped to make the United States the most reliable shipper in the world. And they deserve a lot of credit for the work they're doing. And they've helped to reassure these overseas customers and governments that the United States is a very reliable origin for their grain and feed needs.
Ryan, thank you so much. Ryan is speaking today from Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Nice chatting with you.